Okay, so in North Carolina, there was a ballot measure today about, it was about what, gay marriage and birth control, something like that. The making it same-sex marriage ban. That's the issue at hand. Okay. First of all, let me just address the issue itself, which is that love is love. And I don't know how you can argue that. That being said, how do you deal with something as frustrating as someone trying to legislate love, someone trying to take away rights, or even just when your neighbors are being vocal and saying that the world should be a way that you know in your heart to be not the way of truth, not the way of life and source, and it's not, I mean, no. We had our Prop 8 stuff in San Diego where there was this, huge uproar about trying to, make gay marriage illegal or legal. And it's a very hard thing to even come to terms with the fact that these things that you know in your heart to be wrong, that people around you are saying is right, or vice versa. My grandfather was born and raised as a bigot who believed that, he was a Baptist minister who believed if you didn't believe in his God that you're going to hell. And over the course of his life, began to get more and more in tune with what he believed to be the truth behind what Jesus was talking about. Not so much the Bible, but more the words and the path and the direction of Jesus' teachings, which is why he called himself a Jesus man more than he called himself a Christian. And which is why, even though he was a Baptist minister, eventually he became a civil rights activist, because he realized that some things in his environment were not in line with what he thought Jesus would want. And then later still, as there was people saying, this gay person, this woman, cannot be a clergyman, he was like, what the heck are you people talking about? There's no way that Jesus would say this. There's no way that Jesus, who embraced Mary, who embraced the dregs of society, would then say that certain behaviors are acceptable and some are not. The only things that he might find unacceptable was valuing the physical world, valuing wealth and acquisition and the shallowness of this world over love and heart and acceptance. That's the sin. That's being out of alignment. So anyway, what was the point? Oh, right. So how do you deal with it when people around you, especially when people in the name of righteousness are making a case that, a gay couple shouldn't be unified or united in the eyes of the law and the state, or whatever the thing is that the reality is you can't control the way somebody the way that people shape the world, the way that people judge, the way that people limit. All you can do is control the way that you think and your world and your reality and your in relationship to all that. When I struggled when a little bright sunshine on my face, when George Bush won his second term, I had a little bit of a breakdown, because it's one thing to feel like, oh, we had this election and we selected this one guy, cool, whatever. I disagree, but it's easy to get swayed by politics, whatever. But then after all that happened and the way the world was, for then to have the majority of people say yes, that meant that my brothers, my sisters, my neighbors were so out of alignment with the way I saw the world. It was jarring to me. I'm like, I felt alone. I felt like I didn't want to go outside. I felt like, who are these people? I thought that we had certain things, certain overlap. And it's so jarring when you see that, holy crap. It's not that there's a few freak crazy people that got swayed by an advertisement and decided, yeah, gays should marry. It's like the majority of my neighbors. That means if I walk around the street, that half the people I'm looking at or more believe this thing I know to be untrue. Gays shouldn't marry? What the? How? Why? How did they even get in the frame of mind that they thought that that's something they should have anything? Anyway, I don't want to get too caught up in the issue themselves. I more want to address the idea of how to deal with that feeling of being so out of alignment with the beliefs of the people around you. And that's when we go back to what we talk about in Hug Nation and trying to remember that all belief, all politics, all religion, all sports, all belief, all of that is all in the realm of mind. And if somebody is at war with your beliefs, they are still your brother. They are still your sister. They are still a piece of source. They are still a ray of light from the same star. They are still a cell in the same organism. They are still your brother and your sister. And they are caught up in whatever fiction, whatever story, whatever. And for all you know, you are too. Now, in this specific situation of, the rights of gays to marry, that's kind of like, I have a hard time understanding the opposite perspective. But in so many other cases, who are you to know what the right thing to do is? Who are you to know what, in the end, is the righteous path? In the moment, of course, you're right and they're wrong. But life is so rarely black and white. And it is so frequently maddening if you allow the world to be us-them. There's only us. And in the moment of this disagreement, of this war, you have to sink into that awareness that this war is on one level of reality. But where my heart lives, what I really am, is connected to this other person, even as our ideas and our minds are at war. Does that make any sense? Jesus said, love your enemies. He said, turn the other cheek. He didn't say, how dare you? He said, forgive them, Father. They know not what they do. And I don't say Jesus because he is the Son of God and I say Jesus because he's a fucking badass. And I happen to know a few of his stories more than I know what other cultural teachers might have said. But the reason why he's a badass, the reason why we have the mythology based on him, the reason why people is because he tuned in with that source truth. And that is that we are one. And that if you hate me, that's not, it's weird, I got a little misty there. So, if you are in the middle of a war right now, and if your brothers and your sisters and your neighbors are waving a banner of something that turns your stomach. Try to let go of the war. Try to not give them a wall. Try to think in terms of Aikido. I do not want to meet your fist with a fist. I do not want to give you a wall to hit against. All I can do is flow. All I can do is love you. All I can do is forgive you. All I can do is be understanding and recognize that every belief, every attitude, every identity, every identification, everything that you believe to be you in this mind realm is the result of your experiences. And if you were raised, if you walked in the shoes of that person who is at war with you, you would be swinging the same banner too. So we need to sink into that inspiration activism, walk our walk, shine our light, and allow others' darkness to be illuminated by that. Not by force, but by the natural order of things. By the way that light is. You do not pummel someone with light, you simply shine. So if you are feeling pummeled right now, forgive yourself, forgive them, and allow your light to be your message. Allow your walk, allow your forgiveness and your understanding to be the argument. I hope that helps. And I hope that you have the patience to stand by your convictions in this fucking crazy world. Because if you get too caught up in the surface of it, it will break your heart. But if you can remember how it's all connected, then it will blind you with its brilliance. Try to see that when you see that person's anger, when you see that person's closed-mindedness. Try to see right through it. Try to see the blockages of their light and see the light right through it. And maybe that kind of understanding will allow it to come forth. That's the only way. You will not break open someone's heart with a fist. Only by your bright light melting it. It's the only way. So, if you're in North Carolina, or actually if you're in the world, thank you for following your truth and melting with your heart.